What if I told you that in the next minute you're going to make the wrong decision twice, even though you'll know exactly what I'm trying to do? Let's start with a simple question. Imagine you're sitting in a restaurant on a special evening. The waiter walks up to your table and places two bottles of wine in front of you. One costs $50, the other costs $280. You haven't tasted either one yet. Which one would you expect to taste better? Once you've made your choice, remember it. A few years ago, psychologists conducted an interesting experiment. Participants were asked to taste two wines. What they didn't know was that they were actually tasting wines of the same quality, only the price tags were different. One bottle appeared to be far more expensive than the other. Those who believed they were drinking the more expensive wine almost always rated it as tasting better. But in reality, everyone was essentially drinking the same, relatively low-quality wine. The psychologists expected this result. What even they didn't expect was just how powerful the effect would be. And before you think this only happened to the people in the experiment, the exact same thing happened to you just a few seconds ago. At first, you might think these people simply made a bad judgment, but in reality, they were doing exactly what their brains are wired to do. Before they had even taken a single sip, the price had already created an expectation, and that expectation changed what they actually experienced. They weren't lying, they weren't pretending. They genuinely experienced the same wine as tasting better. Do you think the tallest redwood tree in the world is taller or shorter than 300 meters? Don't look it up. Just guess. Taller or shorter? Good. Now estimate how tall you think it actually is. Say the number out loud. The tallest known tree in the world, Hyperion, is a coast redwood standing 115.55 meters tall. And that was exactly the point. Do you see now why I asked you the first question? 300 meters had nothing to do with the real answer, and yet, there's a good chance it influenced your estimate. You're not thinking badly. This is simply how your brain works. Two completely different decisions driven by the same underlying mechanism. It's called the anchoring effect. Our brains are constantly making estimates, and to do that, they need a starting point. When there isn't enough reliable information, the brain can be surprisingly quick to accept the first number it sees or hears, even when that number is completely arbitrary. The anchoring effect is a cognitive bias that can influence our decisions without us even realizing it, whether we're making estimates or deciding what something is worth. But there are many other psychological effects that can influence the way we think, and they don't even require numbers. When someone tells you he's a very trustworthy person, you already have a starting point before you've even met him. You don't know him yourself, and yet he may already seem more trustworthy. When someone tells you, be careful around him, before you've exchanged a single word, your brain has already started forming an opinion of him. But do you actually know what processes are taking place inside your mind in those moments without you even realizing it? The anchoring effect doesn't tell you what to think. It simply determines where you begin thinking. The most dangerous influences aren't the ones you notice. They're the ones you don't even realize are there.